Hey, Coach, I'm sure it helps to have JD and Kamani available for the rematch here, but just curious overall with the way the lineup and the rotation has changed for you guys. Do you feel like you're better equipped to match up this time around?
Well, I think, every time you face a team for a second time, there's always going to be changes from both, you know, sides. And certainly we feel like we're a different team than we were, as I'm sure Mississippi State has improved in areas as well. So, um, they're a team that's physical and but I will say that at that time, you watch that tape and then you watch our team now, at that point we were more of a, I don't know, I guess you could say we've kind of eliminated the your turn, my turn basketball, and we've grown as playmakers on the offensive side. And then, defensively, we're certainly a much more connected defensive team that seems to operate and click as five defensive members, maybe more than we were earlier in the year.
And then, the last game, Tolu Smith was questionable coming in. He played and had a big impact. Sounds like he's in a similar situation in this game. I'm obviously you prepare as if he's going to play, but do you almost have to have two different plans because I'm sure it's a much different dynamic when he's not on the floor versus when he is.
Yeah, I mean they have, obviously Tulu Smith is a very talented post up player. Brooks is as well, number 10. He's either going to play the 4 or the 5. I think we're trying to figure out defensive themes regardless of who plays. Try to look at their offensive sets and figure out how we can maybe defend those sets a little bit better than we did in game 1. And I'm sure Coach Holland's doing the same from his end. So there's always going to be some slight adjustments, in the second time that you play a team. And obviously, Molinar, number 1, is one of the best point guards in the league. And Brooks, like I said, is coming off a really good game. And at the off guard spot, number 3, Moore, really bothered us as well. And Jeffries has good size, number 13, at the small forward spot. And, Matthews is a guy that plays hard as well, who could slide into that starting power forward spot.
Much.
Yeah, Coach, you talked about Chris and the kind of his attitude the last few days at practice, leading up to his performance last night. Do you think that performance could maybe kind of be something he builds on, and that be kind of the Chris likes we see from here on out?
I mean, I hope so. It's been fun the last 4 or 5 days, like I mentioned last night, just to see how he's been attacking things. It's fun to see in terms of his, like his professionalism, in the way that he's gone about his business. His personality's come out, a little bit more with each, passing day. We hope that he can continue to grow through, that performance that he had, yesterday. Because I thought that performance against Georgia on both sides of the ball was really critical in his confidence building.
Bob?
Eric, I guess the previous 2 years when you played a team the second time after each of the first time, you're 7-1 now. 6 of those are at home, so I'm sure that helps. But you did split with Missouri with you each winning on the road. But what do you think's the key to you having such a good record in rematch games when you lost the first time around?
I don't know, Bob. Maybe good luck, good fortune. I mean, I don't. I think everybody, gets an opportunity to tinker and mess around with some stuff. So I don't, sometimes there is some luck involved, but I don't know what it was at Nevada, but I will say that, the unique thing about pro basketball is, playoffs, whether it's, in the minor leagues, you get to play teams in a 7-game series or a 5-game series, or, I think that, even when we played in the CBI, I think that, you do see things that with our staff having some NBA, background. I do think that we talk about things as if they're adjustments throughout a playoff series when we play, because we take, like we're talking about this being game 2 in our series against Mississippi State. But having said that, there's such good coaches in this league. I think everybody makes, good adjustments the second time around.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you did in Nevada. I'll have to look that up, but I was talking about at Arkansas, you're 7-1, and you beat Mizzou 2 out of 3 last year because you got them in the tournament. But how much, because I know how deep you guys go in your scouting reports, how much does a scouting report change, or maybe is it not as, deep the second time around because you've already played the team, you've already had a big scout on them?
Yeah, I would say, Bob, actually, that our scouts are probably more in depth the second time, and if you play them a third, because I think you're able to find out maybe an area you did well, and you're also able to figure out areas that you didn't do well, and then you also have to anticipate adjustments from whoever else you're playing. So I think there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, we have a fairly large post-game report that everybody on staff is responsible for different areas. And so when you have so much information to go through, you've got to really study and decide what you want to pare down for your team, and not overload them with information. I think that becomes really important the more times you play a team. How do you simplify it, but yet also, make an adjustment or two?
I think we know how you guys are better because obviously we follow you guys. How would you say Mississippi State's different or better from watching them recently?
I think Brooks has become more offensive minded than we played him the first time. Watts is now getting into a little bit more of a rhythm. They're the fourth leading scoring team in the league, so they're ahead of us from a scoring standpoint. They have a large scoring margin. Field goal percentage wise, they're first in the league. So, I mean, I think as the league has gone on, we've seen some identity themes. Obviously, they're a really good offensive rebounding team. I think fifth in the league, and number one defensive rebounding team, and the number one defensive rebounding margin team. So I think they're better just because you see these numbers become real because we played more league games. And look at their 12.38 average on the offensive boards, and that's second in the league, 99 total offensive rebounds. So we got it. There's some definite themes that we've got to focus in and get better at than allowing them just to go grab every offensive rebound that they want.
Okay, I got a couple more, but I'll turn it back to Mike. Thanks.
Nate,
Yeah, Eric, after a game where you hit threes like you did, do you worry about the next game becoming 3-ball happy where people start just popping threes because they've had success?
No, I mean, if that happens and they're not going down, they can always come and sit next to me. So, I mean, we're not just going to let, guys just go out uncharacteristically, but we also want to, we also hope that game built some momentum, Nate. I mean, I hope that it gave some guys some confidence, but we want to remain, who we are. Offensively, we don't want to change too much. I think when you look at our scoring numbers, they're pretty good, and we want to just keep building off that.
As far as your grad transfers, because it seems like they're all coming together, is a lot of that just time that just took this while for everyone to start playing well consistently?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you have a new team, I mean, it's like gardening. You plant seeds in the ground, and then how long is it going to take for to see the fruits of that? Is it going to be 10 games, 15 games? I don't think you really know. And we've changed the starting lineup, and I think like with the change of the starting lineup, which obviously has those grad transfer, you're talking about 2 grad transfers, and Trey and Stanley, and then you add in a DC and his experience. I think it's about habits, and then kind of measuring those habits, and those habits turning into like what I would call victory habits or winning habits. And I think that on both sides of the ball, when you're new to a system, it's going to take X amount of time for you to do it every day. And I think what happened in non-conference is we had some of those guys doing it every other game, some of them doing it 2 out of 3 games. You know, and now at least, you know, other than the first half against Georgia, we've been really consistent over the winning streak of doing it for 40 minutes. We did not do it last night. We took a step backwards, a major step backwards in the first half, and then we regrouped at halftime and got back to those habits that have helped us become good on both sides of the ball. And certainly, I think, Nate, yeah, sure, the continuity of all those guys being new to the system, I think over time it helps.
Thank you.
Christina?
Coach, going back to talking about Chris, I know obviously as a shooter, SEC play has been kind of hard for him, and I wondered if there was something in particular you saw him struggling with, or sorry, my cat just reached into the oh, and he's getting up. I was wondering if there's anything in particular you saw Chris struggle with as a shooter over SEC play, or if it was just kind of an off time for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now he's really locked in, you know, of late. And, you know, again, I mean, just because you watch other sports and stuff, and you can see a pitcher go through, you know, times when he's really finding the strike zone, and then other times where he's, you know, throwing more balls than what normally happens, or it could be a hitter, you know, gets into a slump, and maybe a shooter's confidence kind of can waver a little bit. But I think that the time and the work that he spent in away from practice, he's been way more locked in than he was earlier in the year.
And then how do you feel like your expectations for him have changed since he got here, and what do you feel like his ceiling is?
Yeah, I mean, I think we had really high expectations, and then I think we were searching for a role for him, and you know, you kind of waver back and forth, like who's your X factor going to be, you know, going into a game, and then who is the X factor after the game. And you know, like last night, I think that, you know, the work that Chris did, I thought that in his minutes, he was kind of that guy that changed the complexion and the momentum of the game. I really did. I thought we stunk in the first half, and we played lifeless. And he came in and he gave us a jolt of energy. And he got some steals that only a guy like him can get. And so the more guys that you have coming off your bench that jolt you with energy, the better off you can be. So certainly if he can continue in that role that he had against Georgia, it would nothing but help us.
Follow up, Bob?
Hey, Eric, beyond the scouting report and the X's and O's and film study, et cetera, when you play a team that beat you the first time, how much like maybe extra motivation do you guys have, just because they don't want to get swept? They want you know, they want to beat a team, maybe a little extra motivation if a team beat them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, anytime you don't play well, your antennas go up a little bit, you know, and you're, you know, you can grab the attention of your team. But I also think, you know, like if you win the first game, that I mean, as you progress throughout the season, every game, you know, gets more magnified, and you have less opportunity. Like we don't have that many more opportunities to play at home, you know. And so for us, if we have 5 home games, this being, you know, the 5th one, like that's not a lot. And we talked about that with our team today. Like, you know, I mean, pretty soon it's going to be 4, then it's going to be 3, then it's going to be 2. And it's the same thing when we went on the road last night. We talked about how many road opportunities we had going into the Georgia game and the importance of that. And then that was overly reminded at halftime, just about how many road games we have left. And especially guys that eligibility runs up. Like, I don't think they understand like how hard you have to play and how competitive you have to be, because it's not going to be there for very long.
And then, you know, the second half last night, I mean, Georgia's a pretty good offensive team. They're not a very good defensive team, but you guys really locked down on them defensively, you know, really like you had in all the previous games of the winning streak. I mean, how good was that to see that you had kind of a defensive lapse, but you corrected it, you know, right away in the second half?
I'm glad we corrected it, because I don't know if we still had the weighted vests, and I don't know where the bricks were. They were with the snow and the way the roads are right now. I don't know if we could have gone out and found bricks and and weighted vest because the way that thing was trending, it was going to be an epic practice today if we wouldn't have turned around our defensive intensity. But sometimes teams are going to make shots, but I did not think that we did the little things in that first half that we were supposed to do. And I thought that, Georgia is offensively talented. But certainly in that second half, I thought we played as hard as we should have been playing the whole game.
Was your halftime talk real analytical, or was it more angry and paint peeling off the walls, or how'd you get through to them?
It was not analytical, Bob.
Okay.
I'm
thinking it was the other way.
Probably.
Okay, thanks. Is your shoulder feeling better?
No, I'm telling you, man, I mean, they call those things gravity machines or gravity chairs, but I don't know what gravity it's grabbing because it's brutal. I mean, last night in my recliner, when we finally got home at about 1:30, we walked into our place. That chair felt like it was the most comfortable piece of furniture that I've ever been in, because what we travel with, I mean, I'm going to have Riley do a Zoom call on that because it's got plastic arm things and it's freaking brutal.
Well, yeah, but if you have to pack up to fit in the plane, it's not going to be easy, boy, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's tough.
That's why you got to get these hotels to get you a chair. You guys are paying a lot of money to stay at the hotels. Tell them you need a chair. I'm not kidding. I'm serious.
I know. I'd rather save the money and get more sweats for the guys.
Get Hunter to buy you a chair.
Thanks, Coach.
Only 3 more weeks.
There might be less football being played, but BetOnline has way more stuff to bet on this playoff season. From scored, totals, player performance props, to where the next fired coach is going to land, BetOnline is the #1 spot for all things NFL betting in 2022. And with the new year comes a new updated desktop and mobile website. Sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE to get started. That's BLEAV. And it's not just football. BetOnline's basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC odds coverage is the best in the business. From sports right down to your favorite Vegas casino games, BetOnline is your #1 online wagering destination. BetOnline, the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports and play your favorite games. BetOnline, where the game starts.